We are super excited to have you all here for DePIN Summit, and excited for our first talk to have a couple of speakers who have really done a ton for the crypto ecosystem over many years and are now sort of like bringing their attention to DePIN, so we're very excited. Jesse, thanks for joining us from Base. Can you give us a couple minutes for the audience here just to, I know you can't see them, but there's a bunch of folks here who are excited to hear more about DePIN on Base, and we'd love to, I'm sure, hear a little bit about your background and sort of some of the exciting stuff that was going on at Base last week.
Yeah, awesome. Well, hey everybody, I can't see you, but I wish I was there in person. We tried to make it work, but unfortunately, just coming back from Basecamp last week, I wasn't able to. My name's Jesse. I lead Base. I created it. Prior to that, I led all the consumer products at Coinbase for 5.5 years on the engineering side, and then really started a journey to figure out how to bring Coinbase and how to bring the world on chain. And we've now been on that journey for about a year and a half. But yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of Base being live for everyone, a huge milestone. In the year that we've been live, we've gone from 0 to millions of transactions every day, more than 10 million transacting addresses on a monthly basis, tens of thousands of builders, and billions of dollars in the Base economy. So it's been so cool to see that really, really rapid growth. And last week we were actually all together at Basecamp, which was our first ever builder conference that kind of brought together all of the core builders of Base, about 350 people, to talk about where are we going, what did we accomplish this year, and how are we going to do it together. So me and Jason got to spend a lot of time there, and kind of the whole community got to spend a lot of time there. I think one of the themes that we were most excited about was this feeling that we're at a transition point right now as an industry, where we've been building a lot of kind of the foundations to enable folks to build on chain for a long time. And I think folks have kind of gotten both a little bit tired of that, but also they're seeing that we've made so much progress. We now have really cheap transactions on Base and other layer 2s and L1s. We now have better and better wallet experiences with things like the smart wallet. We're even starting to have these kind of identity social graphs on chain that let you kind of bring in people as they get started with a ton of context about them. And I think what all of that is enabling is kind of this next phase, which is going to be a phase that is really focused on solving real problems for real people, and builders building things that people actually want with incredibly easy to use experiences. And I think that's really like at the core of what DePIN has been pushing for the last many years. It's about how do we take some of the things that all of us use on a daily basis, whether that's our phones or our solar panels, or the cars that we drive in, the Lyft, ride shares that we take, and how do we make them better for both the people who are kind of bringing value to that network in the form of installing solar panels or helping run the cell phone towers or driving the cars, but also for the people who are actually benefiting from that network through the rides and the electricity. And how do we use on-chain and crypto really as a technology substrate on top of which we can build world-class experiences that better serve every single person in that network. And I think the takeaway for us at Basecamp was that like now is our time. The infrastructure has been built for a while, but it's finally just come together, and it's our moment to build. And so I'm super excited to see that already starting to happen in a pretty serious way on Base. Obviously joined by Jason from Daylight, who's an incredible founder building Daylight, which is a distributed energy network fully on chain, running on Base. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the months and years ahead. So super excited to be here.
Thanks, Jesse. Jason, well, you were at Basecamp too, I think, last week. What was it like from a founder perspective?
It was amazing. I mean, the energy that Jesse and the Base team brought and set up for everyone was pretty exceptional. And I think what really struck me was exactly what Jesse's talking about is like now is the moment to really execute and build world-class applications and experiences. There was probably 300 something builders there, and I don't think any of them were building infrastructure, which is amazing. Very few were building infrastructure. They were all building really cool, really compelling, really unique applications and experiences to bring people on chain. And so I think it was an incredibly productive place to spend time and just meet people that are excited about the same things that excite us and are excited about Base and represent a lot of the reason why we at Daylight are excited about Base.
100%. Well, thank you guys both for making time to join us after the week of Basecamp. Jesse, one of the things that I've heard a lot about you and also just seen from your persona is that like when I think of the quintessential like crypto on-chain user, power user, it's you. You use like every single product. It seems like the second after it comes out. What is it, after having used probably hundreds if not thousands of crypto products over the years, like what do you feel when you use a DePIN product versus DeFi or gaming or something else? Like what's the qualitative difference, or how do you think about investing and helping to bootstrap these DePIN products in your ecosystem compared to some of the other sectors?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, like my general philosophy on this is if we're not using these products, there's no way we're going to build great products, like period. Like there's just not going to happen. Like dog fooding is something that makes it possible for us to see around corners and understand what's working and what's not working. And so, yeah, I mean, I've been doing pretty much everything I can. You know, I've had like a Helium, it's sitting right next to me. I've had my Helium tower, I think for like 4 years now. You know, went through the migration to Solana. That was interesting and cool. I've had my Demo like car plugin running that. You know, pretty much like anything I can do on chain, I will. And I'm actually right now in the process of getting solar panels through Daylight because I just bought a new house. We're putting in solar. We're doing our whole kind of energy workup and solar panel install, and it'll plug directly into that network. And so I think that just is kind of like a core part of my ethos and the core part of the Base ethos, which is like, if we don't use it, we can't build it. And so we got to use it so that we can help people build better. And I think the thing that I've been really excited about with products like Daylight is that I feel like they've kind of, and even like Demo, Helium, is I feel like they have really been at the edge of kind of progress in terms of this mindset of like building things that people want in an easy to use interface, right? Like with infrastructure or with products like this, like you're selling to everyday people. Like it's a person who's making a solar buying decision of like, do I buy from this solar company or do I buy from that solar company? And in order to win there, you're not just like competing against other crypto products, you're competing in an open market where oftentimes the non-crypto products have been in the market longer, they have more brand reputation, and folks are more used to them. And so I think that has really pushed projects like Daylight to like go above and beyond on user experience and figure out how do we leverage this technology to just offer something better, whether that is a better user experience or a better economic experience by getting me, you know, kind of lower install costs and higher kind of electricity payment rates, or better monitoring experience, or even just like a better understanding of how the work that I'm doing and the installations that I'm doing are contributing to kind of this broader cause of increasing energy abundance in the United States and around the world. And so that, to me, I feel like has been kind of a core part of the like DePIN ecosystem for a long time. But I still feel like it's been running uphill a lot, where it's like that's been the idea, but then we've run into all of this technical complexity around the actual infrastructure that's running on, and we're just now coming to the point where the infrastructure works. And I expect kind of DePIN and products like Daylight to kind of forge ahead and be like, oh, we've already been doing this, but now we can do it even better because the technology is actually working for us. So again, you know, Jason said it, I said it, but I feel like we have just entered this window just in the last like 3 to 6 months where people are building billion user products right now. We don't know it. We don't know it because it's like they haven't started growing yet. But the founders in this room who are listening to this talk are probably building products that are going to get massive, massive scale because the technology is finally ready for us. And so I think it's just time for us to like put our heads down, stay focused on solving real customer problems, and build.
Absolutely. Jason, I want to, for folks in the audience who maybe are less, who know that Daylight is a way to maybe install solar panels and get tokens, but that can mean a lot of different things. And I know that you've, in the way you've designed the protocol, have taken an extremely methodical and thoughtful approach. Everything from protocol design to architecting the like unit economics of the business and everything else. So what was the like inspiration behind, what made you think that Daylight could work, or what was the strike of lightning that made you feel like this was the way to do decentralized energy and now is the time to do it?
Yeah, you know, our key thesis at Daylight is that the only way to meet the coming boom in energy demand across the US and globally is to build new energy capacity in a decentralized way. Building massive new energy capacity in an old, centralized grid model is almost impossible today. If you think about building new generation facilities, it takes 5 to 10 years to interconnect those. Building new transmission infrastructure is almost impossible, just purely because of the amount of jurisdictions it crosses and the amount of NIMBYism that exists around it, the bureaucracy around it. We really have a problem as we look at the future of energy demand is set to double in the next 10 to 15 years, and how in the world are we going to meet that? And the cool thing about distributed, decentralized energy and electrification is if it's installed in a very intelligent way and connected and coordinated together in a very intelligent way, it actually frees up a bunch of capacity on existing grids because we're just pushing generation, storage, and energy management to the edges. And so the lightning, idea behind Daylight really is that we need to incentivize and expand distributed energy as rapidly as possible. And the best way to do that is with an on-chain economy that unites and coordinates and funds all those resources in one central place, and then can then broker out that flexibility, that capacity to participants in the energy market that actually need access to it. And so for us, crypto is really a tool in a number of different ways, but purely to build this on-chain economy built around distributed energy flexibility that really unlocks this next stage of kind of energy abundance for both U.S. and abroad. And one of the main reasons we chose Base is because we think that it gives us the best infrastructure to go execute on that mission. Because in order for us to succeed, we can't just have everybody that's interested in crypto today connect to thermostat and deploy panels and batteries and upgrade to electric vehicles. We need everyone to do it, and we need hundreds of thousands, millions of people coming to Daylight and supporting the platform and supporting the project and entering this on-chain economy. And Base offers, in my opinion, by far the best UX and DevX tools in order to build that experience as simple and seamless as possible. And I'm happy to talk a little bit about the products that we think specifically on the Coinbase side and the Coinbase developer platform side really unlock and enable that. But that is such a core focus for us, is we need to bring millions of people on chain to make Daylight a success. And Base gives us the tools and the opportunity to do that, in a far better way than really any other ecosystem, in our opinion.
And one thing that I might add there is maybe just like a little bit of kind of like philosophical perspective on how we expect DePIN to be built on Base, which is, I think a lot of folks are seeing kind of DePIN develop, and one of the core mechanics that folks lean into is like, we're going to have tokens and then we're going to distribute those tokens using networks to incentivize people. And we think that that's important. Like, yes, there are going to be economic incentives, but at the end of the day, I also think that we believe that economic incentives are really only one part of this game. Like, in order to make this work, we actually have to be coordinating across a really large number of different parties, whether those are businesses or individuals. And the right way to do that is by writing smart contracts that let a bunch of different protocols and a bunch of different kind of stakeholders coordinate in a fully on-chain way. And so when we're talking about building DePIN on Base, and for folks who are in the room thinking about building DePIN on Base, I think what you're opting into in building with us is saying, hey, we're going to put our logic on chain. We're going to write it in smart contracts. We're going to define these relationships between different parties, and we're going to make it open and interoperable and composable so everyone else can build on top of it. And what I expect that's going to make happen is it's going to like shift DePIN from being just this kind of like way we distribute tokens to like align incentives to being like this way more efficient way of building these super intertwined, interdependent infrastructures by representing their coordinating logic, their economic logic, their governance logic in smart contracts in a way that lets them be way more efficient than was ever possible before. And I think that's going to happen everywhere. But I think on Base, because of like the EVM, because of the open source culture, because of I think this really like long history of building systems on chain with DeFi and kind of all the structures that have been built there, I think that's what we're going to see happen really quickly and well on DePIN as well.
Yeah, you guys both mentioned something really interesting there around like, if you're building an on-chain energy economy, it's not just consumers and homeowners, but it's this entire cohort of small businesses, of large businesses, of hardware manufacturers, regulators, everything else. Both on the Base side and on the Daylight protocol side, like how do you interface with folks who are not like retail users with MetaMask wallets or more complex sort of like actors in the network?
Totally. Yeah, back to the UX point and the tools that Coinbase gives us, I think it's UX both on the consumer interaction side, the ability to connect and start to earn and start to contribute to the network, but it's also UX on the institutional side. And so, we talk about things on, the entry point to even get connected to these applications is a wallet. And I 100% will not allow someone to bounce out of our app to go to their Rainbow wallet, which is a fantastic wallet, or, their MetaMask wallet. It's just not going to happen, because as soon as you require someone that's new to the on-chain economy to have to download a second app, it's game over. And you've lost the ability to migrate them through your user flow. I mean, this is just like basic Web 2 stuff. And so Coinbase and the Coinbase developer platform has been very focused on improving that. So in Daylight, users have wallets that are immediately spun up upon account creation. We use both Privy and Coinbase Smart Wallet because Privy allows us to have a very easy embedded wallet option, and Coinbase Smart Wallet gives us account abstraction. So we have a totally gasless experience for our customers. When they mint their devices on chain as an NFT, it costs them no gas. Whenever they send tokens around, it costs them no gas. We have big plans to incorporate stablecoins throughout our protocol for a number of different reasons, and having a tight coupling with Coinbase and being able to subsidize gas and stablecoin transfers is hugely attractive. And then you think about the UX on the other side of the network, which is very much institutional, and being able to partner with a trusted brand like Coinbase and help them connect them to say like Coinbase institutional platform if they need to get spun up with an institutional account. That's something that I think people overlook and don't appreciate. And of course, the institutional accounts at Coinbase can support other networks, but just having everything so tightly integrated really supports the vision we have for making this as seamless as possible. Because we're doing something very new, right? We're bringing people on-chain to a new on-chain economy. And the only way we're going to make that work on both sides of the network is by making it as seamless and abstracted as possible for them to get started.
Yeah, and big plus one to everything Jason's saying. I mean, I really think the way we think about Base and the technology platform that we're building is that it should just be better than Web 2. Like, it shouldn't be better for crypto. It should just be better. And the only way you do that is by offering kind of integrated experiences for both individuals and businesses and institutions that just work. They just have to just work. And so that's why we've been investing in things like the smart wallet. That's why we've been building Base. And I think the technology has come a long way, and it's just going to get better. We finally feel like the pieces are all kind of now in place, but there's still a lot of polish that we need to do. But I think when we polish it, like, this stuff is going to work so well that it will take away a lot of the complexity that I think application developers have been dealing with. Because if you look at the history of crypto, if you're building an application, it's like, okay, I need to like add a wallet. Oh, but now that wallet, like maybe most of the time it's not funded. So I need to also like add on-ramps and I don't know who the user is and I need to do identity and I need to get their email and that's a separate verification. Like, there's all of these steps that application builders have historically had to handle all by themselves. And I think what we want to do is say, no, we can use open standards to put together experience that abstracts away all that complexity. And as a developer, it's like, no, now you just say, click sign in. And your users can get provisioned with a non-custodial wallet that has a full on-ramp experience so they can fund via ACH or credit card or a wire or whatever. And then you're gonna be able to do gasless transactions and to put all these things together that let you build a really incredible user experience, whether you're building for individuals or businesses.
Makes sense, guys. Thank you for the really thoughtful responses. One last question. We have a rule at EV3 that we don't say anything publicly unless it's falsifiable, and we can be embarrassed and look like idiots if we're wrong a year or two later. So I'm gonna ask you guys, what's one falsifiable prediction that you guys have about DePIN that might come true on whether it's a 6-month or 12-month or longer time frame?
I'll jump in. I have many, but maybe I'll stick with one that I think is the most important. And I think this is something that we're just starting to see. I think Helium Mobile is leading the way here, and I think we'll see many other projects turn the corner. But the demand constraint narrative on DePINs will very much go away in the next 12 months, and we will see at least 3 DePINs generate significant amounts of off-chain revenue that are then coming on-chain into their on-chain economy.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the same thing as Jason, which is that I feel like people have kind of gotten lulled into a sense of like, oh, this is going to take a really long time. But that's mostly just that we hadn't hit the inflection point. But I think we've hit the inflection point. And so I expect that we're going to see a number of breakout DePIN businesses in the next year that reach millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people and deliver real value in the form of better margins, better experiences for both businesses and individuals. And so like, no one should be lulled into a false sense of slowness right now. Like, now is the time. And if you're not building or you're not feeling urgency, like, you should reevaluate, because right now is the moment to build. There are billion-dollar billion user businesses being built right now, and the technology is finally ready. So super excited to build with everyone. I wish I could have been there in person. If you see Luca Karan, who's on my team, he's around all day, and we'd love to talk to anyone who's interested in coming and building with us on Base. this is going to be my other prediction, which is I think Base will be the largest DePIN infrastructure ecosystem in the next 12 months. It's, we've gone from 0 to the largest layer 2 in the last 12 months, and we're really just getting started. And so the more great folks who are based and kind of culturally aligned with us, who are interested in building interoperable, composable, on-chain systems that serve our planet, whether that's by increasing the amount of energy that we have, or making it easier for people to get where they want to, or easier to people to call their friends and family, the faster we're going to be able to accelerate this transition. So super excited to build with all of you.
Thank you both guys for joining us here at DePIN Summit 2024. Appreciate you making time to jump in from where you are in the globe.
Awesome. Happy Saturday, everyone. Have a great summit. Wish I could be there. Have fun.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much. See ya.
Awesome. So after getting to hear from Jesse and Jason, gonna get to hear from a bunch of the founders who, like Jesse mentioned, are building these networks that have the potential to be 10 or even bigger billion-dollar networks.